איך נשיר את שיר השם על אדמת נחל.
Following the births of my two youngest children, I spent 3 days at the recovery house at the Beit HaChlama, which is basically an institution that was set up for women to recover, have a few more days to recover following their births. So going to the recovery house, it's really fun because first of all, you get to be like with your amazing, wonderful, miraculous newborn baby, which is really incredible, of course. But so you go there, and it's like a hotel. Like it's very luxurious, and the food is amazing, and it's really like wonderful moms who you can eat with at the meals. The purpose of being there is sort of to rest and relax and to regain your strength after following the birth, so that you have a lot of energy to go back to your family. So the baby's in a nursery 24 hours a day, and they just call you to nurse the baby. So when the past times that I went, I had sort of a hidden agenda. That's for me, rest and relaxation includes a lot of reading and a lot of sort of, writing in my journal and doing things that I never ever have, that I have very, very little time to do when I'm actually, at home and and dealing with the demands and all the demands and responsibilities upon me, as a mother. So I get to the recovery house, and I have like a whole suitcase full of books I want to read, and the articles I set aside that I want to read, and I have like the journal that I want to start writing, and even like last time I brought my husband's laptop, like different things I wanted to work on, and because I just know I'm going to have like several empty days to fill, and that I can do anything I want. But I've noticed something interesting happens when I get to the recovery house. That the first day is really, really fun. It's true, like I'm so excited with the baby, and I'm nursing, and then like I go upstairs to my room, and it's very quiet, and I can do whatever I want. So I open up my suitcase, and I set up my husband's laptop, and and I'm reading, and I'm like, this is so fun, and then I pray, and I pray for longer than I usually have time to do, and and then I go outside, I go like on a walk, and I sort of think and contemplate things and whatever, but then by the second day, I come back from the meal with all the moms, and I nurse my baby, and I come back to my room, and I look at my suitcase, and I take out a book, and I'm like, what? Like another day of reading? Like another day to work on my husband's laptop? Another day? It's like I have like a whole empty day to do whatever I want. Do anything I want, and what I've realized is that it's really no fun. It's no fun to have days on end to do whatever you want. So I'm telling you this story because a few months ago I was reading a really, really amazing book by Rabbi Erez Moshe Doron. He's a Breslover rabbi in Israel, and he wrote a book called Halev V'Mayan, The Heart and the Spring. And in this book, it's really fascinating. It's a correspondence between a new Baal Tshuva, a newly religious Jew, and Rabbi Doron, and all the questions that this newly religious Jew has about Judaism, and more specifically about religious society. So the Baal Tshuva wrote Rabbi Doron, and he says, I'm sorry, but this time I have a really, really tough question. He said, I went away for Shabbat, and I spent Shabbat with like this religious family. It's this family with a bunch of little kids. I spent the whole Shabbat with them, and I just saw that the parents, they're spending the whole time, taking care of the kids and breaking up fights with the kids, and in the kitchen and cleaning the dishes and serving the food and cleaning up the house. And he said, I see that they're so weighed down by the responsibilities of taking care of a family and taking care of their home, and what I don't see is any time for spirituality. Like, where is the spirituality? Where is the space in their life for spirituality? He said, and I'm terrified. He said, now like I'm in yeshiva. He said, and I have so much time. I have so much time to think and learn and really, contemplate life and the meaning of things and, pray and connect with God. He said, even as I write this down, I'm sitting on the lawn, the yeshiva has a big lawn in front of me. I'm sitting on the lawn, and I'm writing this letter, I'm thinking about life and contemplating, meaning and spirituality. He said, when I get married, and God willing, I'll have children, he said, I won't have any time for that. It's like I'm going to have a life devoid of spirituality, just like those people. Okay, so Rabbi Doron writes him back, and he says, I thank you very much for your letter, first of all. He said, I'll tell you, I read it several times, and each time I read it, something about it bothered me. And I realized what bothered me is because I feel like this concept of spirituality, this understanding of spirituality, it's not a Jewish way of understanding spirituality. Understanding spirituality is something that takes place in a place of total serenity, sort of cut off from real life, in a mountaintop, or on, for me, I guess, in the recovery house when I have, hours and hours and hours to think and contemplate and do whatever I want, He said, it's not a Jewish way of seeing spirituality. Within Judaism, spirituality takes place within life and within the demands and within the responsibilities. And yes, within the difficulties and even the limitations of this life. Within the limitations of life is where spirituality takes place. Where spirituality and self-expression really, really can take place. He said, it's like, let's say like you have a pitcher of water. And you start, he said, the limitations and the responsibilities you have in your life are like the glass. They're the vessel that holds the water, that holds the holiness. And without those limitations, without those responsibilities, it's like you're just pouring from that pitcher of water, just pouring it onto the ground. Why is that? Why is it that true holiness and true self-expression can only take place within a life full of responsibilities and full of demands and full of even limitations and difficulties? Why is that? Because within a life you don't have all the time in the world to do whatever you want to do. You yearn for it. You yearn for it. You yearn, as a mom, you're taking care of your kids, you're taking care of your home, and you yearn for spirituality, you yearn for connection with God, you yearn for, a little bit of time to pray, a little bit of time to learn a little bit of Torah, you yearn, and because you yearn for it, it creates this vessel for holiness, and creates a vessel for self-expression. And I see this so much in my own life. If I compare, before I got married, I spent a few years studying Torah full-time, and I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot. But you can't even compare, how much I enjoyed, let's say, a week of nonstop, 12 hours a day studying Torah, with how much I enjoy now, once a week, going to 1 hour Torah class in my neighborhood. I enjoy it so much because I yearn for it, because I yearn for Torah the whole week, because I don't have time for it. Or now, when I was single and I was able to go to synagogue for all of Shabbat morning, services. And, but, you can't even compare the quality of my prayer then with now when, before my husband goes to synagogue on Saturday morning, I go for the first 45 minutes of prayer, of services at a shul next to us. And you can't even compare that. Those 45 minutes of prayer for me are so intense because it's the 45 minutes that I spend a week in a shul. It's so intense and it's such higher quality and so much more meaningful than even than all those hours and hours and hours that I spend praying because I yearn for it, because I yearn now, because now I have so many responsibilities and demands and my life is now so much more focused on the physical needs and taking care of the physical needs of my family that I yearn for it, that I yearn for spirituality, and I yearn for that connection with God. Or also, in terms of self-expression, when I was in university, let's say I was writing a paper, then I had, weeks to work on it. I had weeks to, to sit in the library, where you hear a pin drop, and to, stay up late and think about it and think about the topic and read more about it and ask my professor, and then, and then write up a few drafts. And, but you can't even compare that, the level of the quality of my work then with now that my time for self-expression is so limited. It's just a few hours in the morning between, taking the kids to nursery school and picking them up again and the kids coming home from school. Now I just have a few hours at the computer and my level of productivity and my level, I think also the meaningfulness and also I think the quality of what I'm producing now is so much higher because I yearn for it, because I yearn for that self-expression. The whole day when I'm with my children and I'm, busy with the physical needs of my house, I'm thinking about, how I'm going to, what I'm going to write or what I'm going to say in my next pep talk. Because I yearn for it, it's so much holier, it's so much more meaningful. So I want to bless all of us that we should remember that as moms, we're taking care of our families and we're taking care of our homes, and that we should remember that what we're lacking in terms of quantity of holiness and self-expression and Torah learning and prayer, and that because we yearn for it, we more than make up for it in terms of quality. I want to bless everyone with an amazing week and an amazing month.